We are going to be working on main ideas of texts today. So I saw that on the mock star you guys were still struggling with this, so I figured let's go ahead and dig deeper into this concept and just sort of keep practicing it so that we can, do well when we're tackling difficult texts. So our objective for today is figuring out the main ideas of a text and the key details supporting them. And that's necessary for just like understanding the text, right? And it also, as we know with the plan of attack, it helps us answer questions too. I want you guys to do this quick do now. So right here, you guys should have this resource. I sent it out to your parents. Right here, I want you to read this short passage over here in the blue where the moon looking picture is. And on your piece of paper, write down the sentence from the passage that tells you what the main idea of the paragraph is. So as you guys know, there's always a main idea. No matter the text, even if it's this short, you should still be able to find like at least one sentence that sort of says it explicitly. So I want you to read the text by yourself. Go ahead and pause the video now. Take 3 minutes to find the main idea and write it down on your lined piece of paper. Okay, so when you did that, you should have this is the answer. So it should be throughout time, the moon has inspired many people. So if you did get that, or if you didn't get that, that's okay. We're going to work on main idea either way. But that was the only sentence that really sort of told me everything that this text was about. So it was just about how the moon has inspired different people to, work on different things. So here it says that there's a piano piece that was inspired by the moon. Then there's that painting by Van Gogh. So these are the details that support the main idea. So let's go back a little bit and just talk about what the main idea even is. So a topic, you guys know, is what a passage is about, or the subject, the topic or the subject. And then the main idea is the important idea about that topic. So what about that topic is the author trying to tell you? Short passages usually only have one main idea, and long passages have two or more main ideas. The way that you know the main idea is through the supporting details, right? So there are different facts, examples, or other information that are in the text that help you find what the main idea are. And those are called key details. And they support our main idea because they're basically telling us what the main idea is, right? So here, our supporting details were that Van Gogh painted the Starry Night and he was inspired by the moon. And this Beethoven was inspired by the moon, and I think here it was like the singer wrote a book and it was inspired by the moon. We're going to move on to actually talking through how we're going to use the plan of attack to continue our understanding. So as you guys know, the plan of attack, there's the tackling the text part. This is really what we're going to focus on today. So first step is previewing the passage, right? So when you preview the passage, you look at the title, text features, and the directions. And then you use your knowledge of the genre to get ready to read. And of course, you jot your genre and your subject. So we're going to take a look at, you can skip page 11. We're going to take a look at identifying constellations together. I'm going to be doing this one for you guys and sort of walking you through how I would think through it. So when I'm previewing this text, I'm looking at the title. The title of this text is Identifying Constellations. Interesting. Identifying Constellations is the title. So I'm trying to figure out what the subject and what the genre is. So already I have a sense that this text is probably nonfiction because it's a real science text. It already says genre up here, science text. But in terms of fiction or nonfiction, I think that this text is nonfiction because it's real and it's about probably constellations. I don't know what these are, but we're going to figure it out. I see some stars here in the text features. These illustrations or images are showing me some stars. Maybe these are what constellations are. I don't know. I'm a 5th grader, right? So I'm going to jot what I think my genre and my subject are. So my genre is nonfiction. And I know when I'm looking at nonfiction text, I'm looking at the topic, main idea, teach me's, and text features. And I used these text features and the topic or the title to help me understand what this text is about. And I think that the subject is constellations. Now that we've previewed the text, we're going to closely read the passage. I want you to pause the video and go ahead and read this independently. Okay, now that you've closely read the passage, the next step in our plan of attack is jotting the main idea. So it's kind of difficult sometimes to figure out what the main idea is when a text talks about different things. So you're going to be thinking about these two questions. What was the text mostly about? And what was the author's message about that thing, whatever it is? When I was reading, I was understanding that there's a lot of things going on about constellations and how to figure out where stars are and how to make sense of just like the sky, right? The night sky. So why do we find a main idea or jot the main idea is so that we have a good main idea to help us hold on to that main point of the text while we're answering questions about it. So when it comes to STAR or other tests, we're able to answer questions because we fully understand the text and the main point that the author was trying to tell us. So with this text, what was the text mostly about? So the text was mostly about how to find constellations by grouping stars into recognizable shapes. So basically it was telling us, I think it was the sentence right here. It says, one way that ancient cultures made sense of the stars was by grouping them into recognizable shapes. And this is supported also by the text features, right? There's like this lion-looking thing, this animal that like helps us understand what the stars look like and how to find the stars or make sense of the stars. And I think that the rest of the text also supported that by giving me more examples of sort of recognizable shapes. Like, for instance, the Big Dipper looks like a cup, right? So what was the author's message? That there are a lot of different shapes that help us make sense of the sky, like the Big Dipper, right? So that was like I said, that was mainly what the text was about. So this is basically my main idea. What I would do is I would put these two things into one sentence. So I would say, the main idea of this text is to tell me how to find constellations by grouping stars into recognizable shapes and how there's a lot of different shapes that help us make sense of the sky, like the Big Dipper. Now you guys are gonna work on this text by yourself. Not this one, sorry, but you're gonna skip this. You're gonna go to page 14, and I'm gonna guide you guys sort of on how you would go about it, right? You might be looking like him, like, huh? What are you talking about? But I'll guide you, okay? So, your turn to try. So first you're going to preview the text. So go ahead and pause the video, jot your genre and subject by previewing the text on your lined piece of paper. Remember that you're looking at the title, the text features, and the directions. There are no directions here, but just remember to look at those two things, okay? And think about what is my genre and my subject. Okay, now that you've found your genre and subject, see if it matches mine. The genre is nonfiction. Topic, main idea, teach me, and text features is what you're looking for. And then subject is Pluto. If you didn't get that, that's okay. Just make sure that you are looking very carefully. All right, now you're going to closely read the passage on your own. Okay, go ahead and pause the video, read it on your own, and think about those things. All right, now that you've closely read, and make sure that you've closely read. If you have not closely read, go ahead and pause the video again and read it again. But now that we've read closely, we're going to jot the main idea. So we're going to ask ourselves those two questions. What was the text mostly about? And what was the author's message? What was the author trying to tell me? Alright, so you're going to pause the video now and you're going to answer those two questions on your paper. And then after that, I want you to put it all together into one main idea. Your main idea doesn't have to be one sentence. It could be two sentences. Just make sure that they're complete sentences. Okay, so your main idea should look something like this. How Pluto is no longer a planet and why scientists decided to call it a dwarf planet. And Pluto is a dwarf planet even though not all scientists agree. Those two things need to be in your main idea. Now I want you to take the next few minutes, pause the video, and answer the two multiple choice questions that are on page 15. So page 15 is this one. You're going to answer the two multiple choice questions. Be careful because number 1 has a part A and B, and then also number 2. Alright, so your answer to number 1 should be that is A. What is the main idea of the science article by Tyrone Nielsen? A group of astronomers decided that Pluto is a dwarf planet. This is supported by our main idea, because our main idea said that Pluto is no longer a planet, and the scientists decided to call it a dwarf planet. Part B of number 1 is Pluto doesn't fit this definition. Is C. Which statement from the text best supports the answer to part A? C. In August 2006, astronomers came up with a new definition of the planet. This one was a tough question. If you identify your main idea, you're going to be able to find which detail supports it the best. Number 2 is C. Which of these is most clearly a detail of the passage? It hasn't cleared its neighborhood the way the planets have. C is one of the conditions that makes Pluto not a planet, or one of the reasons why it's called a dwarf planet and not an actual planet anymore, and that supports our main idea. That's the only one that shows how it's not like the planets, or it doesn't fit the definition of a planet. Alright, so I want you guys to be careful when you're reading. If you got your main idea wrong, you would have gotten all these questions wrong, because it can be really easy to be lazy and not read carefully, and you're going to make silly mistakes because of it. For example, thinking this text was about how Pluto's too small, if you thought that, that's a mistake. That means that you didn't read carefully, because it's really easy to think about Pluto as just a planet that's too small, and that's not actually a planet, and that's not what the text is about at all, okay? So if you look really carefully and read carefully the first time, you're going to do well on the questions, but if you don't do that, you're not bound to succeed. Your independent practice for today is going to be, you're going to scroll to page 18 through 20. You're going to read this text titled, From When Stars Explode. You're going to go through it with the plan of attack. You're going to preview. You're going to read the text carefully, and you are going to then jot your main idea on your paper. Then I want you to answer questions on page 21. So you're going to go to page 21, and you're going to skip page 22, and you're going to work on questions on page 23. I want you to send me the pictures of the notes that you took, or the papers that you wrote on, for page 21 and 23, those questions. Okay, so your answer should be on there with the supporting details of why you chose those answers. So that's it, guys. So I really hope that you guys feel like you have a better understanding of main idea and how to tackle texts, especially informational texts with main idea. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via Dojo or whatever it may be, okay? Make sure that you answer this question, learning target. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.